Hi everyone, this is Claire, and today I'm going to through some interesting aspects to introduce a very important science in nowadays, nuclear power production. Actually, as we all know, with the rapid development of human civilization and technology, our demand of resource is increasing. And nowadays, the world's energy resources are in a critical state, and the environmental problems are very serious. Therefore, we try to use science to help this world, and we try to produce some things to change this current situation. So, a new term of clean energy was put forward. Now, many countries are making great effort to develop clean energies, but for our general people, what do you think of when you hear the word clean energy? I believe most people think of the solar panels or wind energies at once, but how many of you think of nuclear power? The nuclear energy is often excluded from the topic of clean energies, although it became the second largest low-carbon power source in the world behind hydropower. So today, I try to introduce about the nuclear power and through to film the battle of Chernobyl and the rise of dark night to help us have a deeper understanding about it. I believe we are not strangers to nuclear energies. And the nuclear energy, or we can also call it atomic energies, it is an energy released from the nuclear through nuclear reactions. The science of atomic radiations, atomic change, or nuclear fission developed from 1895 and 1945, most of which were in the last year of these 6 years. Over 1939 to 1945, most development was focused on the atomic bomb. From 1945, attention was given to harness this energy in a controlled fashion for naval pollution and for making electricity. Since 1956, the main focus has been the technical development of reliable nuclear power plants. So, what is the principle of nuclear power? Many people may not understand it. In fact, the structure of atoms is like miniature solar energy system. The nuclear is at the center of the atom. Orbiting around it are electrons. The nuclear is made up of protons and neutrons, which are packed together very densely. The lightest element, hydrogen, has a proton. Uranium, the heaviest natural element, has 92 protons. The nuclear is joined together by the great force, which is the strongest force in the nature. When bombarded by neutrons, it can split apart. This process is called fission. Because uranium's atoms are so big, the atomic force binding them together is relatively weak, which makes uranium favorable for fission. In nuclear power plants, neutrons collide with uranium's atoms, causing them to split up. This split releases neutrons from uranium, which in turn collide with other atoms, leading a chain reaction. This chain reaction is controlled by the neutrons absorbing control rules. In the core of nuclear reactors, the fission of uranium atoms release energies heating water about 520 degrees Fahrenheit. This hot water is when used to rotate the turbines connected to generators, thereby generating electric energy. Now, here is a basic understanding of nuclear energy. The original intention of us development of nuclear energy was to use it as an efficient and pollution-free new energies. Using it to generate electricity can effectively relieve the power panic in today's society. However, there are two sides to everything, including the exploration of science. But the other side of nuclear power seems to much scarier than we thought. I believe many people should have seen a movie, The Battle of Chernobyl. The film is actually based on the real events. The film tells the story of the explosion of Chernobyl nuclear power plant in the Ukraine region of the former Soviet Union at 1:23 a.m. on April 26, 1986, which brought the greatest tragedy in the history of human peaceful using the nuclear energy. According to this movie. The Chernobyl nuclear accident was caused by an explosion caused by accidental fire in the experiment of a factory. It is radiation's amount equivalent to more than 200 times that of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima, and more than 8 tons of nuclear materials has been leaked. Dust drifts all over the world, which not only takes away the health and even lives of the local people, but also endangered the creatures all over the world to some extent. The consequence of this few limited accidents still affect us, even 35 years after the accident. It can be said that the threat still exists. After watching the Battle of the Chernobyl, we were shocked. The treaty reality and the serious consequence could not help but plunge us into contemplation. In fact, this kind of tragedy is not unique. Not only the Chernobyl incident, but I believe all of us have heard of the Fukushima nuclear power plant leakage that shocked the world. Today, the Chernobyl stone monument has stood for 35 years, and it has been 10 years since the Fukushima nuclear power plant leakage. The painful memory of nuclear radiation is still a wake-up call. How to scientifically understand nuclear power energy that has been paid more and more attention and developed by all countries. Can nuclear safety be ensured? From the 3 Miles Iceland nuclear accident in the United States to the Chernobyl nuclear desert into Soviet Union, and then to the Fukushima nuclear leak in Japan. Every serious nuclear accident will cast a shadow on the development of nuclear power and remind people to pay more attention to the safety of nuclear power plants. Moreover, the use of nuclear energy is easier exploited by bad people. In the movie The Rise of Dark Knight, we can see that the nuclear fusion reactor was originally used to clean energies. But this machine was finally converted into a super nuclear weapon for 4 million tons by villains in film. They transformed the nuclear into a nuclear bomb and took it out of the reactor. As the nucleus of the bomb decayed, the bomb will become more and more unstable until it explodes. Perhaps many people will say that this is the need of the movie plot. But this does not mean that we will not face this kind of risk in reality. The basic principle of nuclear bombs is exploited by using the principle that heavy nuisances like uranium and plutonium, which are easy to fission, can emit huge energy at the moment of nuclear fission. Like I said before, in the history of the nuclear energy development, from the 1939 to 1945, the 6 years focused on the weapons research and then began to develop vigorously in the direction of energy. This shows that nuclear energy as a weapon or use it as energy can be said to be a difference of opinion. Of course, it is not easy. Just like the movie, it still needs the help of a nuclear physicist. But it is not impossible. I know nowadays nuclear power plants are well protected by various countries, but it cannot be ruled out that there is no risk of being used by lawless elements after the development of this science and the technologies become more popular. Now, after we watch these two films, these two are negative examples. So we need to ask, it is really necessary to develop the nuclear energy? The great danger hiding behind nuclear energy is that human beings have tried it. So do we really have to proceed without hesitation? We can't deny that in the next 10 years, or 20 years, even hundreds of years, we can able to completely control nuclear energies and cut off its clutches so that it will not have any danger or threat. However, it is most necessary that ever to reflect on the desirability of nuclear power. Now about it has two sides. The supporters emphasize the abundant nuclear resource, the ability to produce large amounts of elements with small amount of fuels. and the extremely low level of greenhouse gas production. It can also reduce the dependence of industrialized countries on traditional energies, which must be imported mainly from other parts of the world. However, the detractors, on the other hand, will emphasize the accident risk of reactors. The unfolding desert in Japan speaks for itself. The vast transport risk, the proliferation concerns are worried about the possibility that such technology can always be deployed for destructive purpose, and indeed the matter of what to do in the long-lived radioactive waste. This is quite different from the hype of the 1950s, when the propaganda film about nuclear energy told people that it might provide almost endless energy supplies. It could even supply power to ships, planes, and trains regularly, instead of being a jet power stations that supplies power to the whole cities. Let's continue back to the nuclear its own. Analyze it and try to get a result. First, the shortcomings of nuclear energies are obvious. First of all, nuclear power plants will produce radioactive waste or use nuclear fuel. Although it occupies a small value, it must be handled carefully because of radiation, and it needs to face considerable political troubles. And there are lots of radioactive materials in the reactor of the nuclear power plant. If they are released into the external environment in the accident, they will cause harm to the ecologies and peoples, just like we did in the movie, The Battle of Chernobyl. At the same time, the development of nuclear energy still faced many novel problems. If we see in the movie The Rise of Dark Knight, it is also very terrible, and once it's used by the bad people, it will be a great disaster and hurt many people, even the world. In fact, the war and accidents brought by it will affect the whole world. So nuclear deterrence is an idea that might lead to the destruction of the world, and it has a great influence on the whole world. But if we look at the benefits of nuclear energy from another angle, what will we see? First and foremost, because it generates energy through nuclear fission instead of chemical combustion, it generates a base load of electrical and does not output carbon, which is an even factor of global warming. Here are some related materials and data I have compiled. In conclusion, for the future of the world, in today's scarce resource, it is still necessary to develop the nuclear energies because it is still useful as a clean energy for our world. If people develop and control nuclear energy reasonably, it will certainly benefit mankind. In addition, we still cannot forget the painful lessons brought to us by Chernobyl and other nuclear accidents. Through these two popular films, The Battle of the Chernobyls and The Rise of the Dark Knight, I believe that it can encourage more people to realize the difficulties and the risks that nuclear energy development will face. To sum up, nuclear power is a double-edged sword. Only we carefully control it and carefully develop it, we can be able to get benefit from it and try our best to avoid the recurrence of nuclear accidents like Chernobyl and Fukushima. So this is all my lecture about nuclear power productions. Thanks for watching, and I'm very willing to waiting for you to continue to discuss some different points with me. Bye bye.